Hello everyone, my name is Inara and I am the Delivery Associate for the Monitoring, Evaluation and Learning Department at the Legal Aid Society. The department's name is a mouthful, isn't it? But don't worry, here we are to take you through what it means, generally and also in the context of the work that we do at LAS. First up, we have monitoring. Monitoring is the routine collection of data that is used to measure progress against the project activities. It makes sure that the activities are being implemented as intended. The objective is to improve organizational efficiency through compliance checks, which are based on the established standard operating procedures. It sees if the project is being implemented as intended, what factors are there that hinder their implementation, and what course corrections can be inculcated in the project to ensure its effectiveness in project delivery, processes, and practices. Now that we have an idea of what monitoring actually is, let's delve deeper into understanding what are the types of monitoring. So there are two types of monitoring: process monitoring, which is also referred to as activity or compliance monitoring, and performance monitoring. While process monitoring tracks the progress against work plan activities, performance monitoring tracks the progress against the project's results framework. While performance monitoring tracks the methods that are used to achieve the outputs, performance monitoring tracks the progress against the performance indicators or the KPIs. Process monitoring takes place in real time. That means whatever the data is coming in, we can feed them in real time to make real-time adjustments. Whereas performance monitoring gives an insights into the long-term trends that can lead to further long-term improvements in the project. The process monitoring is used by the operational staff that is involved in the day-to-day activities of the project, while the performance monitoring is mainly used by senior management or higher-level stakeholders. Next up is evaluation, the E. It is the periodic, systematic, and objective analysis and assessment of an ongoing project or a completed one. Evaluation tracks progress towards the outcome of the project and see if it is achieving the intended outcomes or has achieved the intended objectives. Evaluation also helps us in identifying how the project has impacted the beneficiaries. In case if the project has not achieved its intended outcomes, evaluation also helps us gauge the gaps in the effective implementation of the project and what factors led to them, so that relevant corrections can be made in the ongoing or the future cycle of the project. Just like monitoring, evaluation also has certain types. First one is formative. Formative evaluations take place when projects are in the stages of being developed or are being modified or adjusted. What it does is to provide us with information of whether the project is feasible, acceptable, and appropriate before fully implementing it. Next up is process evaluation. It helps us determine if the project activities were implemented as intended and if the certain outputs were achieved. It can take place periodically throughout the time of the project. Next up, we have outcome or effectiveness evaluation. This evaluation helps us measure the project's effects in targeted population by assessing its outcomes. Last is the impact evaluation, which helps us assess project's effectiveness in achieving the outcomes. This type of evaluation takes place after a significant amount of time has passed after the completion of the project. Now that we have understood what monitoring and evaluation is, we need to understand what do we do of the data that we gather through monitoring and evaluation. That is exactly the last component of our department, learning, the L. Learning is a continuous process where the activities and the results generated from the M and the E are fed into the project activities to ensure its continuous improvement. Obviously, it is a continuous process that makes sure that real-time adjustments are made. As a part of learning, we reflect on the questions like what worked well, what did not work well, what factors can be improved, and we use some innovative approaches to make sure that we improve the project implementation. The idea is to do, learn, and improve. Needless to say, it is a process full of collaboration. You need to join hands with the right partners and make sure that you come up with right approaches to improve the program delivery and its implementation. To put it simply, think of monitoring as the process of making tea. How do you make a tea? What amount of each element do you put into the tea? That is called monitoring. Evaluation is when your family drinks the tea and they love it. What if they don't? They advise you to make adjustments in the future like maybe adding a little more or little less of milk or any other kind of amendments. Then, when you make the tea next time, you incorporate all the learnings that you had from the previous time and make sure that you don't repeat the same mistakes again and continue what you did best the first time. I hope this video was beneficial for you to understand what monitoring, evaluation and learning is and how it is a value-added function for any organization. To answer your questions like how it adds value, what is the utility of M, E and L, we'll see you next time. Thank you.